Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. This is a video that I was not sure I was going to make. I wanted to make it one day and then I didn't, and then I wanted to make it another day and then I didn't because I'm like, I don't want to do a thread anymore. I don't really feel like doing a thread. I don't feel like looking through my collection, and here we are doing a thread. Probably the biggest thread that's going on right now on YouTube, which is the 10 albums that I listen to the most. Now, this was inspired by Chris over at The Long Cut, and he just wants us to show the 10 albums that we've listened to the most in our lives. Now, if people have taken different paths with this. Some people have gone over their entire lifetime and picked the albums. To me, that's almost impossible because some of those albums that I listen to the most are probably albums that I don't even own anymore. I mean, some like Disney related stuff and some soundtracks and things like that that I don't own. So what I went and did was I decided to go like the last few years, like 2 or 3 years, and like the albums that I've listened to the most, like some of my go-to albums. And I don't have these in any order. Actually, I have them, the only order that they're in are alphabetical. So I'm going to jump right into it. The first is the letter A. We're going to go with the Avett Brothers with their album I In Love and You. This album came out in 2009, produced by Rick Rubin. This was kind of their commercial breakthrough. Came out on American Records. Again, it was their major label debut, even though they put out several albums beforehand. I believe 4 albums. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 albums and a bunch of EPs. This has I Am Loving You, Kick Drum Heart, And It Spread, Head Full of Doubt, January Wedding, Laundry Room. Fantastic Americana album. The Avett Brothers out of Concord, North Carolina is the letter A in my top 10 most listened to albums. I listen to this album when I don't feel like thinking about an album to listen to. I throw it on. Next, a band that I just talked about. This is Camp. This came out in 2022. Lavender Days. I've listened to this album a lot in the last couple of years. Really, really love it. Again, I did a concert review, which you can see a couple videos ago on my channel. It's not really Americana necessarily. It's just, kind of folky. Sounds like, you're going out like you're hanging out under the stars on a summer evening, listening to some banjo music, having a couple of beers with the guys. Really, really cool stuff. Some standout tracks. Believe, Apple Tree Blues, Lavender Girl, Snowshoes. Really, really cool stuff. If you like a good smoky voice, really, really light instrumentation, you'll love this album. Camp, Lavender Days. Gotta go with one of the old standbys, Bob Dylan. This is Infidels. I listen to this album a lot. It's one of my go-to Dylan albums when I don't know what Dylan album to listen to. Second favorite Dylan album of all time. You've got Joker Man, Sweetheart Like You, License to Kill, I and I. It's only 8 tracks in this album, but it's fantastic. This was the first album after his Christian trilogy, his gospel trilogy. Dylan's in great voice here. This is an album that I would recommend to anybody that's trying to get into Bob Dylan. It's 80s, but it doesn't have really a full-on 80s production. It's really, really good. Infidels by Bob Dylan. The letter F, I'm going to go with Fountains of Wayne. This is their album Sky Full of Holes, which ended up being their final album. Of course, Adam Schlesinger, the main songwriter, passed away in 2020 from COVID-19. This is kind of the Fountains of Wayne, who are, again, a power pop band, best known for songs like Stacy's Mom and Hackensack. This is kind of them doing more acoustic power pop, but it's not fully acoustic, but it's got some great jangle to it as well. Some standout tracks: The Summer Place, the opening track. Action Hero, A Dip in the Ocean is fantastic. It's a great sing-along track. A Road Song is really, really fun. Radio Bar, Firelight Waltz, and then Cemetery Guns, which I believe I heard Cemetery Guns on David Letterman back in 2011, and I really, really fell in love with it. And I remember I listened to that song a lot before I even listened to the full album. So Sky Full of Holes by Fountains of Wayne, number 4. Number 5, The Head and the Heart debut, self-titled. To me, it's a perfect album. I found it at the perfect time in my life, with relationships that I was in and kind of some sadness that I was feeling at that time. But songs on here like Rivers and Roads, Down in the Valley, Lost in My Mind, Cats and Dogs, Sounds Like Hallelujah. Fantastic. I mean, if you like folk, if you like some stomp clap, Great harmonies. They're out of Seattle, Washington. The Head and the Heart, self-titled. Next, my man Van, Beautiful Vision. This is from 1982. You got stuff on here like Cleaning Windows, Celtic Ray, Dweller on the Threshold, Beautiful Vision, Across the Bridge Where Angels Dwell. Just a fantastic track. It's spiritual Van, but it's got some great stuff. Like Cleaning Windows is just really funky, really good stuff. Van's some great voice. I've got to go with my man Tom Petty. I'll probably listen to this album more in the last couple of years than his other albums. This is Highway Companion from 2006. Ended up being his final solo album. He did it with Jeff Lynne, but he had his compadre Mike Campbell on here as well. Songs on here like Saving Grace, Down South, Ankle Deep, Flirting with Time, Square One, just fantastic stuff. It's a great mix of Wildflowers and Full Moon Fever, his other two solo albums. Plus you have the Jeff Lynne perfectionism all over this album. Get this album, Highway Companion by Tom Petty. The final album by John Prine, The Tree of Forgiveness. I've listened to this album a ton. Very short little album, about 31 minutes. What a capstone in his career. Again, he came out in 2018, just 2 years before he passed away, also from COVID-19. You know, you have fun songs on here like Knocking on Your Screen Door, Egg and Daughter Night, The Lonesome Friends of Science, where he talks about Pluto losing its status as a planet. And then When I Get to Heaven, which is about all the things that he's going to do once he goes to heaven that he can't do on earth. Fantastic, again, capstone at a career. Perfect album. And came out on Oh Boy Records 2018. The last two are Christmas albums, because those of you that know I'm a big Christmas guy. And in alphabetical order, the Sinatra Christmas album, specifically this version. Listen to this album a lot. This would go into my most listened to albums of all time as well. Listen to this album all the time during the Christmas season. It's a go-to when I'm opening presents with my family at Christmas time. Great version of Jingle Bells where he says, you know, I love those Jingle bells. Absolutely love it. Frank Sinatra is at the top of his game on this. It was one of those when he was on Capitol in the 50s. Mistletoe and Holly, the Christmas Waltz, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. I really want to listen to this album now. It's fantastic. Love this album, the Sinatra Christmas album. And lastly, another Christmas album, the Statler Brothers Christmas Card. Listen to this album 5 or 10 times a year for Christmas time. Been listening to it for most of my life. Again, I've said before, I've had the pleasure of interviewing the lead singer, Don Reed. And then I interviewed later member Jimmy Fortune, who is not on this album. But again, love their version of Jingle Bells on here. It's almost like in double time. They do their original songs on here, like Who Do You Think? It's just a beautiful encapsulation of the Christmas story with the birth of Christ. Christmas to Me is beautiful. Not the Stevie Wonder song, it's their own. I'll Never Spend a Christmas That I Don't Think of You. The first track, I Believe in Santa's Cause. Just a beautiful adult look at what Christmas really is about. Just perfect album, and I'm proud to say that they are from the state of Virginia, specifically Stanton, Virginia, which is about an hour and a half, hour 20 minutes north of me. So I love the Statler Brothers. Absolutely love this album. So there you go. There is me conforming to the thread. Please let me know what you think of these albums. If you've ever heard of any of them, I'd love to talk to you in the comments. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 900 subscribers. There you have it. In the meantime, y'all be good. Take care. Talk to you on the next one. Bye now.